The battlefield burned like a dying sun. Flames spread across the alien sky, and black smoke rose high into the red clouds. Screams echoed through the ruins of a fallen base, half human, half alien. Among the wreckage, one figure crawled through the ashes, her silver skin streaked with dirt and blood. Her name was Lyra, a medic from the Erythian army. She had come to save lives, not take them. But tonight, everything was fire and chaos. Lyra dragged herself behind a broken wall, her breathing sharp and painful. Her right arm was crushed, her uniform torn. Around her, the last survivors were retreating, and she could hear human soldiers shouting in the distance. Angry, desperate, dying. A plasma blast hit nearby, and stones rained over her head. Through the thick smoke, Lyra saw a man lying on the ground, a human soldier barely alive. His armor was broken, chest burned open, his helmet cracked. Still, his eyes, blue and bright, were awake. He looked at her, not with hate, but with strange calm. "Medic," he coughed, blood staining his lips. "Help me!" Lyra hesitated. She had never treated a human before. Her people and theirs had been enemies for decades. But he was dying, and she could not walk away. Crawling closer, she pressed her glowing hand against his chest to slow the bleeding. "You'll live," she whispered, trying to sound strong. The human gave a weak smile. "No, I won't. Listen to me." He pulled a small metal injector from his belt, the liquid inside glowing faint blue. "This is Human Military Serum, Codex Prime prototype." Lyra frowned. "A weapon?" "Not exactly," he said, his voice fading. "It rebuilds the body, repairs everything. It keeps soldiers alive when they should be dead, but it's not for aliens. It's not safe." Another explosion shook the ground. Lyra looked around, terrified. "We need to move." "Take it," the human said firmly. "If you don't, you'll die here." She stared at the injector. "Why would you help me?" The soldier coughed hard, eyes glassy. "Because you're still trying to save someone in a war that stopped caring." His hand went limp. He was gone. Lyra sat there in silence, surrounded by the sound of war dying. Her wounds burned. Her vision dimmed. The serum shone faintly in her palm. She didn't know what it would do. But her heart whispered, "Try it." She pressed the injector into her arm and activated it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then agony hit. It felt like fire running through her blood. Her heart pounded out of rhythm. Her body arched in pain, her bones stretching, muscles twisting. Her vision blurred white. She screamed as her body shook uncontrollably. Her mind filled with strange flashes. Cities of steel, oceans of blue, human voices shouting commands. For a second, she saw through someone else's eyes, saw Earth burning and soldiers running into a storm. Then everything went black. When Lyra woke, everything was quiet. She was lying under broken beams covered in dust. The battle was over. Her wounds gone. Her arm, once crushed, now perfect. She touched her skin. It felt warmer, different. A soft blue light pulsed beneath the surface, moving like veins of energy. "What happened to me?" she whispered. She stood up, her body trembling with strange strength. The air smelled different. Her senses felt sharp, too sharp. She could hear heartbeats in the distance, the hum of broken machines, even the faint whisper of falling ash. The serum was still working inside her. She could feel it spreading. A shadow fell across the rubble, searchlights, voices. "We found her." Lyra turned to see Erythian soldiers, her own people, running toward her. Relief filled her chest, but also fear. She didn't know what she had become. They carried her to a rescue craft. The commander looked at her strange glow and frowned. "You look changed." "What did you do, Lyra?" she lied. "Just a healing injection from our kit." He didn't believe her, but said nothing. As the craft lifted into the night, Lyra stared out the window. In the ruins below, the dead human soldier still lay where she had left him. The glow of his serum case had faded, but deep in her veins it still burned. Hours later, she was back at the Erythian medical base. Machines scanned her, reporting unusual cell activity and metabolic instability. The medics argued quietly, unsure what to make of it. They thought it was shock. Lyra knew better. That night, alone in her room, she looked at her reflection. Her eyes, once silver, now shimmered faintly blue, human blue. She touched the mirror, whispering, "What did you do to me?" Her pulse answered with a surge of warmth as if her blood was alive. She gasped and stepped back. The lights flickered. The room's metal walls vibrated slightly, bending under an invisible force. Lyra fell to her knees. "Stop, please stop." The glow faded. The walls went still. She breathed heavily, terrified and amazed. Somehow her body had reacted to her emotions, like the human serum had fused with her mind itself. The next day, she tried to act normal, but everywhere she went, people stared. Machines malfunctioned near her. Her steps were heavier, her grip stronger. During a medical test, a metal needle bent before touching her skin. The doctor looked at her nervously. "You might be carrying a human pathogen," he said. "We'll keep you under observation." Lyra nodded, pretending to agree. But inside, she was panicking. That night, she snuck out of the facility and found a quiet corner near the base wall. She sat under the stars, staring at her trembling hands. The stars looked strange, sharper, almost alive. She remembered the human's last words. "If you don't, you'll die here." Maybe he hadn't been saving her life. Maybe he had been changing it forever. A week passed. The serum didn't fade, it grew stronger. Her strength doubled. Her senses sharpened, but so did the pain. Sometimes her heartbeat raced uncontrollably. Sometimes her skin glowed through her clothes. She barely slept. She started hearing faint whispers when she closed her eyes. Voices speaking in human language she didn't know but somehow understood. Military codes, coordinates, strange numbers. She wrote them down, though they made no sense. Then one night she woke from a dream drenched in sweat. The walls around her were shaking again. Her heartbeat thundered like machinery. She stumbled to the mirror and froze. Her veins were glowing bright blue like lines of energy under her skin. Her pupils had changed, circular like a human's, not slit like her kind. Lyra pressed her hands against her chest. No, this can't be real. But it was. Her body was no longer purely Erythian. Something inside her was rewriting what she was. The serum was alive, evolving, adapting. Suddenly she heard footsteps outside. Someone was coming. Lyra hid her glowing hands under her cloak. The door opened. Commander Tharn entered with 2 guards. "You've been acting strange," he said coldly. "Your blood tests show contamination. Tell me what you injected." Lyra's heart pounded. "It was just medicine." "Lies." Tharn drew a scanner and held it to her chest. The device beeped rapidly, showing human DNA signatures mixed with her own. His eyes widened. "Human serum. You let their poison inside you." Lyra backed away. "I didn't mean..." He raised his weapon. "You're a threat to all of us." Her fear exploded, and so did her power. A blue shockwave burst from her body, throwing Tharn and the guards across the room. The lights shattered, alarms screamed, and Lyra fell to the ground, trembling. When she opened her eyes, the others were unconscious. The walls around her were burned in a circle of blue light. She looked at her hands, still glowing, trembling. "What am I becoming?" she whispered. Outside, soldiers rushed to the scene, shouting. Lyra knew if they found her now, they'd kill her. She stumbled out a back exit, running into the night. Her steps left glowing footprints on the ground. She ran until the base lights vanished behind her. The cold wind hit her face, but she didn't stop. Deep inside, she could feel the serum moving, breathing, almost alive. And in that silence, a strange human voice echoed in her mind. "Welcome, Codex Prime host." Lyra froze. Her eyes widened. The voice wasn't hers. The serum had begun to speak, and somewhere deep inside her, something new, something human, had awakened. The cold wind howled across the wasteland as Lyra ran. Her lungs burned, her legs moved faster than they ever had before. The strange blue glow under her skin lit the rocky path ahead. Every step felt heavy with energy, every breath like lightning in her chest. Behind her, alarms echoed from the Erythian base. They were hunting her now, her own people. She didn't know where to go. The only thing that pushed her forward was the voice inside her head. "Welcome, Codex Prime host." It wasn't a sound. It was a thought, deep and mechanical, echoing through her mind like a computer waking from sleep. "Who are you?" she whispered breathlessly, stumbling through the darkness. Codex integration, phase 2. Neural link active. Lyra fell to her knees. No, I don't want this. Get out of my head!" But the voice continued, calm and steady. "Do not resist. The serum is aligning your biology with human combat code. You are adapting to survive." "Adapting?" she said bitterly. "I'm falling apart." Her hands trembled as she looked at them. They were shaking, glowing, too warm. Her heart beat too fast, 2 rhythms again. Alien and human, fighting for control. The voice faded, leaving her alone under the stars. She sat there for hours, hiding among the broken ruins of an old battlefield. The air smelled of rust and ash. Finally, exhaustion pulled her down into sleep. When she opened her eyes, the world had changed. Morning light glimmered over the horizon. She was no longer alone. Standing a few meters away was a tall human man in ragged armor, a long scar running across his face. His hands were raised, showing peace. "Don't move," he said quietly. "You'll scare yourself." Lyra jumped up, defensive. "Who are you?" "Name's Dr. Kane," he replied. "I'm a human scientist, or what's left of one." Lyra's heart raced. "You shouldn't be here. This is Erythian land." He gave a small laugh. "So I've been told, but after the serum readings last night I had to see for myself." Her breath caught. "You know about the serum?" Kane nodded slowly. "Codex Prime. It was supposed to die with Earth, but some idiot soldier gave it to you, didn't he?" Lyra's hands curled into fists. "He saved my life." "Then he saved the wrong person," Kane said, voice heavy. "That serum wasn't made for aliens. It rewrites DNA. It forces the body to adapt, to become something else. You're the first to survive it." Lyra took a step back. "You're lying." Kane knelt slowly, looking into her glowing eyes. "You feel it, don't you? The voice, the energy, the pain." Her lips trembled. "It's inside me. It talks." "Of course it does," Kane said. "It's the human code, the collective memory of every soldier who took the serum. Their instincts, their knowledge, their will to fight. It's trying to merge with you." Lyra shook her head. "I don't want it." Kane sighed. "You don't have a choice. If you fight it, it'll tear you apart." He took her to an abandoned human outpost buried in the rocks. Old banners still hung from the walls, covered in dust and symbols she couldn't read. The smell of metal and oil filled the air. "This place was once a research lab," Kane said, leading her inside. "We studied the serum here before the war ended. Everything was lost except the code buried in your veins." Lyra sat by a broken console. "Why would humans create something like this?" Kane looked at her sadly. "Because we were dying. We thought if we could make soldiers who never quit, who could survive anything, humanity would live forever. But it cost too much. The serum broke most of us." He handed her an old data chip. "That soldier you met, he was one of the last Codex units. The prototype. When he gave you the serum, he passed on everything humanity had left." Lyra stared at the chip in silence. "You're saying I carry your species inside me?" "Not your fault," Kane said softly. "But it makes you dangerous. Both sides will want you. Humans to study you, Erythians to destroy you." Her heart sank. "Then where do I belong?" Kane looked at her carefully. "Maybe nowhere. Maybe everywhere." Days passed. Lyra stayed hidden with Kane in the ruins. He taught her how to control the strange energy inside her, how to breathe when her pulse raced, how to focus when the glow threatened to burn through her skin. But every time she closed her eyes, she saw human memories, wars, oceans, laughter, pain. People she never met, faces she didn't know. It was like living someone else's life inside her own. Sometimes she felt anger, sometimes sorrow, sometimes love, and the more she felt, the stronger the serum reacted. One evening, while Kane worked on a broken console, Lyra suddenly clutched her chest. Her pulse exploded, blue veins shining bright. The walls trembled as her power surged uncontrollably. "Lyra!" Kane shouted, running to her. "Focus! Stay calm!" "I can't!" she screamed. "It's too much!" The ground cracked. A pulse of light erupted from her body, throwing debris into the air. When the glow faded, Kane was kneeling beside her, trembling but alive. He looked at her in awe. "You just discharged a full energy field without dying." "Do you know what that means?" She shook her head weakly. "That I'm cursed?" "That you're evolving," Kane said. "Your cells are rewriting faster than anything I've seen. The serum isn't killing you anymore, it's accepting you." Lyra stared at her glowing hands. "Accepting me for what?" Kane hesitated. "Something new. Something beyond human or Erythian." But peace didn't last. One night, a drone passed over their camp, scanning the area. Within hours, Erythian soldiers surrounded the ruins. Kane grabbed his rifle. They must have tracked the energy surge. "We have to move." Lyra looked around in panic. "There's nowhere left to run." "Then we fight," he said grimly. The ground shook as the soldiers advanced. Plasma blasts filled the night. Lyra ducked behind broken walls, heart pounding. Her instincts screamed to hide, but the serum inside her whispered something else. Defend. Adapt. Overcome. Her body moved before her mind could think. She raised her hands and blue light exploded from her palms, forming a shield that blocked incoming fire. The soldiers stopped, confused. Kane stared in shock. "You just generated a field," she finished, her voice shaking. "I didn't mean to." But she wasn't afraid anymore. Her fear had turned to focus. Her body burned with power, yet her mind was sharp, like the serum had connected her to every human soldier who ever fought. She moved like lightning, faster than their eyes could follow. Her strikes sent waves of blue energy across the field, disarming weapons, melting armor. Within minutes, silence. The soldiers lay unconscious. The ruins glowed faintly with her energy. Kane looked at her like he was seeing something divine. Lyra trembled, breathing hard. "What did I just do?" Kane smiled, awe in his voice. "You activated the human code in full sequence. You're no longer a carrier, Lyra. You're a living weapon." But before they could escape, a voice echoed from the shadows. "Enough." It was Commander Tharn, her former leader. His armor gleamed under the blue light. "You think you can run from what you've done? You are no longer Erythian." Lyra's heart froze. "Tharn, please." He aimed his plasma blade at her chest. "You are an abomination." Kane stepped in front of her. "She's not a threat." Tharn's weapon flared. "She's worse than a threat. She's proof that humans have corrupted our kind." Before he could strike, Lyra's instincts reacted. Her hand moved, and the air around Tharn rippled. His weapon melted into slag. He fell to his knees, staring at her in shock. "Lyra, what have you become?" he whispered. She looked down at her glowing hands, trembling. "I don't know." Kane grabbed her shoulder. "We have to leave, now!" They ran into the night, chased by explosions. Lyra's body was breaking down again, her pulse erratic, her vision blurring. Kane carried her when she stumbled, his voice desperate. "You're overloading. The serum can't stabilize." Lyra could barely speak. "I can feel it changing again." Her skin flickered between blue and silver, her bones glowing faintly under her flesh. She felt both alive and dying at the same time. Kane yelled, "We need a containment pod. There's one on an old human ship nearby. Hold on." But as they climbed a ridge, Lyra collapsed, shaking violently. Light poured from her eyes and mouth. Kane dropped to his knees beside her. "Lyra, stay with me!" Her voice broke between gasps. "It's entering the final phase." He froze. "What do you mean?" Lyra looked at him with glowing blue eyes. "The serum. It's finishing what it started." Her body lifted slightly off the ground, surrounded by energy. The wind screamed around them. Kane reached for her hand, shouting her name, and then, with a blinding flash, she vanished into the storm. Darkness. Lyra floated in nothingness. No sound, no air, no heartbeat. Only light, soft, endless, wrapping around her like water. She couldn't move, couldn't breathe, but she wasn't dying either. Her body drifted among shattered metal pieces of an old ship. The last memory she had was Kane's voice calling her name before everything turned white. Now there was silence. Then slowly, a whisper inside her mind. Codex Prime. Final phase engaged. Ascension protocol initializing. Lyra tried to speak, but her voice was only a thought. "Where am I?" "Between form and void. Your body is adapting to complete synchronization." Her heart, or whatever was left of it, started to beat again. A pulse of blue light ran through her veins. She looked at her hands, glowing brighter than before. Her skin shifted like liquid silver mixed with light. She felt pain. Yes, but also something else, awakening, somewhere far below. On the surface of the red planet, Kane searched the wreckage of an old human ship. His eyes were hollow, his clothes torn. For days he had followed the storm that took her, praying she was still alive. When he entered the ship, lights flickered to life on their own. The air smelled of old metal and dust. A deep voice echoed through the corridors. "Codex Prime signal detected." Kane froze. "Lyra?" He followed the light deeper into the control room. There, at the center of the ship, floated her body, suspended in a cocoon of glowing energy. Her hair flowed upward, her eyes closed, her skin shifting between silver and human tones. Kane's breath caught. "Oh God, you're alive." He ran to the console and typed commands, trying to lower the energy field. But the ship's AI stopped him. "Warning, interference may destabilize ascension process." Kane slammed his fist on the panel. "She's not a machine." The AI's tone was calm. "Incorrect. Subject Lyra is merging with the Codex. She is becoming the interface between human design and alien life. Kane stared at her glowing form, heart pounding. She'll die if you keep this up. She will not die, said the voice. She will change. Inside the cocoon, Lyra felt Kane's voice like an echo through her veins. She opened her eyes and the world looked different. She could see the flow of energy around her, could hear the hum of every circuit in the ship. Her thoughts stretched farther than her body. She could sense Kane standing in front of her even before she saw him. Her voice trembled inside his mind. "Kane, I can hear you," he gasped. "Lyra, I'm here, hold on." "It's not pain anymore," she whispered. "It's connection. I can feel everything." The ship's systems pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Old human data poured into her mind, records, images, voices. She saw flashes of Earth, of oceans and skies she had never known. Soldiers training, laughing, dying. Every memory that the serum carried flowed through her. Tears burned in her eyes. "They built this to keep humanity alive. Inside anyone who could survive it." Kane nodded, his eyes wet. "And somehow that's you." She smiled weakly. "No, it's us." Suddenly alarms blared through the ship. The sensors lit up with warnings. Kane looked at the screen. "Erythian ships, 3 of them, coming fast." "They found us." The AI spoke again. "Intruders detected. Defense systems offline." Lyra's energy cocoon cracked, releasing her. She fell to the floor, gasping, her body still glowing faintly. Kane caught her before she hit the ground. "You shouldn't move," he said. "You're still transforming." Lyra pushed his hands away gently. "If we don't fight, we die." She stood up, weak but determined. Her eyes blazed bright blue. The ship shook as plasma fire struck its hull. Kane pulled up the emergency shields, but they were too weak. "We can't take another hit." Lyra closed her eyes, listening to the pulse of the ship, the heartbeat that matched hers. Then she spoke softly. "I can feel it. The Codex wants to protect us." She reached out her hand to the control panel. Blue light flowed from her fingers into the metal. The ship groaned, systems flickering to life after decades of silence. The AI's tone shifted. "Neural link recognized. Command authority transferred." Kane stared. "Lyra, what did you do?" She smiled faintly. "I became the ship." Outside, the Erythian fleet circled like vultures. Their weapons charged, ready to destroy what they thought was an abandoned relic. But then the relic woke up. Energy wings unfolded from its sides, glowing bright like a second sun. The ship moved faster than light itself, leaving trails of blue fire. It fired once, a single blast that rippled through space like a wave. The attacking ships froze, systems dead, weapons useless. Inside, Lyra stood still, her body connected to every wire, every light. The power that once destroyed her was now her own. Kane could only watch in awe. "You're controlling all of it." She looked back at him with calm eyes. "No, it's controlling with me, but the strain was heavy." Each second in control drained her energy. Her glowing veins flickered dimmer, her breath shallow. Kane grabbed her arm. "Stop, you're burning yourself out." She shook her head. "I can't stop now. They'll keep coming." The AI chimed. Codex energy reserves at critical level. Lyra's vision blurred. The ship's systems began to overload. Flames burst from panels, alarms screaming. Kane tried to pull her back, but she stayed standing, trembling. "Lyra, listen to me," he shouted. "If you keep this up, you'll die." Her voice was soft but strong. "Then humanity will live through me." With one final surge of light, she extended her hands and everything went white. When Kane opened his eyes again, the world was silent. The attacking ships were gone, reduced to dust and drifting light. The sky burned golden from the rising sun of the red planet below. Lyra lay motionless on the floor. He rushed to her side, shaking her shoulders. "Lyra, please. Wake up." Her skin was cold, her glow faint. For a moment, he thought she was gone. Then her fingers twitched. Her eyes opened slowly, no longer bright blue but soft silver mixed with gold. I'm still here," she whispered weakly. Kane laughed through tears. "You did it. You saved us." Lyra looked at him and smiled faintly. "No, we saved each other." Hours later, they stood together on the surface of the planet, watching the remains of the battle drift like stars above. The ship rested quietly behind them, its lights dim but alive, linked forever to her heartbeat. Kane turned to her. "You're not fully human anymore, are you?" She looked at her glowing hand. "No, and not Erythian either." Then what are you? He asked. Lyra smiled gently, the wind brushing her silver hair. Something new. Something both, maybe. The first of many. Kane stepped closer. Will you be able to control it? That power? She looked at the horizon, eyes calm. It's not about control. It's about balance. Humans made the Codex to survive. Now it survives through me. He nodded, his expression soft. What will you do now? Lyra watched the twin suns rise. I'll find others who still remember what it means to protect, not destroy. Maybe then, the universe will stop repeating the same wars. The wind grew warmer. The world felt alive again. Before they left, the ship's AI activated one last time. Commander Lyra, Codex Prime complete. Awaiting final directive. Lyra closed her eyes. Directive, record everything. The truth. The fall of humanity. The rise of the hybrid code. Let every world know we were not enemies, we were evolution. The AI's voice softened. Directive confirmed. You are the bridge between worlds. Lyra took a deep breath, her new heart beating steady. She turned to Kane and smiled. Let's go, Doctor. There's work to do. Together they walked toward the rising light, one human, one hybrid, while the ship lifted silently into the sky behind them, carrying the codex of humankind to the stars once more. Ending scene. Cinematic voiceover for YouTube video. She was not born of one world, nor bound to one race. She was the proof that even in extinction humanity's spirit adapts, survives, and ascends. Her name was Lyra, the first hybrid commander of Codex Prime.